Let's discuss this further now with TRT World's Duncan Crawford. So Duncan, despite what we've just heard about Zika, the doping of course, it is the Olympics. It's time to get excited.
Very much the time to get excited. The 31st Olympic Games due to get underway. The opening ceremony happening tonight, of course, in Rio, and that is a worldwide TV event. Billions of people around the world will tune in to see this opening ceremony, and they should know from the off, a lot of planning has gone into this. 5 years this production has been in the planning. 300 dancers, 5,000 volunteers, and 12,000 costumes. Now, I'm not good at maths. I don't know what your maths is like, but there's quite a few costume changes there for some of the performers. And of course, you've got the athletes who are going to be appearing as well. 10,500 athletes from 206 nations, and they'll all be there doing the Parade of Nations. In terms of some celebrities, you've got Giselle, the Brazilian supermodel, who will be part of it. You've got Dame Judi Dench from Britain. Of course, London held the Games back in 2012. So they're all going to be part of this, and it's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be, fireworks, costumes, singing, dancing, what have you. We don't know the specifics. In terms of how many people are going to be there, the stadium's obviously going to be full. Over the course of the Games, we're expecting an extra 500,000 tourists in Brazil for them, and 7.5 million tickets have gone on sale for the Games, but 1 million tickets are still available. So if you or anyone else watching fancies a trip to Brazil, you can still get a ticket.
Time to jump on a plane, I think, Duncan. Now, all Games, every time they come around, are always beset by some problems. Venues maybe not being quite ready enough, but it does seem to me like Rio's had a particular set of problems. Just take us through some of the ones they've had.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Zika virus, the Russian doping scandal, what have you. We've had concerns about security, the infrastructure, the venues, obviously the political situation as well, where Dilma Rousseff has been suspended from the presidency, facing an impeachment trial on corruption allegations. So all that's going on, and we've seen demonstrations, large-scale demonstrations in the country because of the political situation, but also because of the Olympics and the costs of the Games. We saw that recently in the days ahead of the Olympic torch arriving in Rio, and on the day it arrived on Wednesday, where it's been on tour for the last 3 months in different Brazilian cities and towns. It was meant to be this big event to welcome it to Rio, and it resulted in clashes because protesters attended, criticising the amount of money which has been spent on the Olympics instead of Brazilian infrastructure. Riot police were firing tear gas and pepper spray into the crowd, and some of the crowd who've actually attended to to welcome the Olympic torch were forced to run away. So exactly the kind of images which the organisers of the Olympic Games didn't want the world to see ahead of the Olympic ceremony starting on Friday. They've got 85,000 security personnel in place for the Games. To put that in perspective, that's twice as many security personnel as there were in London 2012. So they'll really be hoping that no more trouble takes place.
And just finally then, Duncan, as you laid out, there's huge sort of infrastructure has been poured into this, lots of money has been spent, but the most important thing about Olympics is the legacy factor, and how ready do you think Rio are to kind of deal with the legacy, and how much will this actually live on past the Games?
It's a multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? The amount of money which has been spent on this, and we've seen in past Olympics held in Sydney, in Greece and other places, that the legacy hasn't worked and that it hasn't been beneficial in the long term. And really, we won't know the answer to that question, what the legacy will be, until after the Games and many years from now. Obviously, the hope is, and the planning has been, that there will be a substantial legacy for Brazilian athletes, for sport, for younger generations coming through to get them involved in sport. But we won't know the answer.
It remains to be seen. It does. Duncan, all right, thank you for now.